Honey, your mother called me today and wanted to talk to me about something.
My mom? What did she want to talk to you about?
She brought up your father's work and said that he got himself in a tough situation. She sounded like she was flustered and ended up explaining the situation over a couple times.
So, what did she want from you then?
She had asked if she could borrow some money.
If she's asking, then I think you should give it to her. How much was it that she was asking for?
Wait, what are you saying?
What do you mean, what am I saying? We tend to help each other out quite often in our home with money. If someone's asking for it in a time of need, then there's no reason not to give it to them. I'm one of her sons, so she wanted to reach out to us.
Well, you aren't the only son she has. I don't think that this is the type of situation where you would just trust someone asking for money so blindly. She's asking for money that we don't really seem to have. We have our living expenses to cover, our loans, our children's school fees.
Well, we both are bringing in a monthly salary. What should be the problem if she needs some money? We aren't exactly struggling. I bet we could shell out something for her.
I think you should look at our accounting book and you might think otherwise.
How much are we both bringing in right now? You want me to just believe you at the first mention that we can't do it?
If you're doubting me, then have a look at the accounting book yourself. I've been recording every single purchase of mine through my phone. Have you not been checking on it?
You're the one responsible for the housework. Of course you're looking into it and I'm not.
How is the housework my responsibility? I have to go out to work as much as you do. Regardless, if you think that this is my responsibility, we'll scratch that right now. I have been the one entirely responsible for overseeing it ever since we got married. Why don't you do anything in regards to book checking our finances? Could you at least get a grasp of how much you are personally spending each month so we know collectively what to look out for in terms of planning?
Because you're the one that does it so well. I've just been leaving it to you.
Well, why should I have to be the one to do it so diligently? So you are forcing me to just guess how much you're spending and then pray not to go over that amount each month? Why would you think that is good justification for slacking on our joint finances?
I think we should just leave it the way that it is. Even if I would keep up with it religiously the way that I know how to do it, wouldn't you just end up being upset by it anyway?
So that's why you're being so quick to lend to whoever needs money.
What do you mean by that?
I am going to share the account book app with you, and you need to go into it to check how much money we actually have. Just look at it. We have 2 kids in elementary school, and we also need to keep up with their after-school tutoring bills.
We should just cut some of their tutoring then. They're still so young. What is sending them off to tutoring nearly every day going to do for them in the long run? What could a tutor possibly teach a child in the 1st grade that will impact them so positively? You're making them do such strange things. Do you realize that?
Have you finished everything that you want to say about this?
Have you even asked them directly if they want to go to all of those tutors? Ask me about any of that. I wouldn't have wanted to go to another language school at all.
You're being pretty ridiculous. You had put me in charge of handling all of their education as well. No wonder you have no idea how important any of this is for them.
Why won't you explain that to me then? What could be so important about it?
You really want to take them out of tutoring? So I should just cancel the rest of their sessions.
What's the big deal?
If we don't send them to those tutoring sessions, where are they going to go during that whole time we aren't home? Your mother keeps using her sore back to justify not wanting to take the kids in. You've heard her complain about that too. I am trying to get the kids used to speaking in other languages by sending them to tutoring. I think you know that much. I am only sending them there twice a week for an hour. That's all that they do with that tutor.
Of course my mom would be troubled by that. Plus, she's too far away from us.
I know that. She had started an argument with me about not wanting to have the kids until dusk every night when I had brought it up the first time. She didn't even attempt to consider maybe watching them every once in a while. So I have been taking care of all of their scheduling. And you? What have you been doing? Just trying to make me feel bad about sending them to the tutors? So where do you want the kids to go? Should they just be home until I get off of work, all alone by themselves? What would happen if there was an accident at the house? Or worse, what if there were to be a crime at the house and the kids were exposed to it? That would be abuse.
Why are you expecting such drastic things to happen?
Because we have to give a lot of thought to her home life. These are our children. Just playing with them one time over the weekend is never going to be enough to raise them, you know.
Do you know how tired I am after work?
So you're implying that I'm not doing enough at work to be tired. I work too.
Fine, I get it. I'll try a bit harder.
Look at the accounting app. We'll talk about this again after you have looked at it for a bit. Have you checked on it yet?
Yes, I am right now.
Just at this month so far?
I've looked at the past 2 months' worth.
We've been married for 12 years now. You've only looked at the past 2 months of our finances?
How am I supposed to look at 12 years' worth of accounting at once?
You should at least pretend to care about our finances. Jeez.
How could I do more than that? I checked it.
Fine. So are you still comfortable suggesting that we should indeed just send your mother money from our conversation that we had earlier?
We're a bit tight this month.
Thank you for understanding now.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
Yeah, now you see that it is a bit out of reach. There's nothing that we can do for her right now. I was worried about having no choice but to say no to your mother on the phone. I didn't have the will to do it, so I just said that I would look into it. Could you call her back and explain the situation to her? I want to find a different route to tell her.
Let's just cancel our automatic saving installments.
What savings are you talking about?
I see that we're putting some money into savings. We should cancel those.
Honey, why would you suggest that? That installment plan is so that we can pay for the kids' university deposits. We need to be contributing to that fund bit by bit even this early on. Did you forget about that?
I know about it, but still, we're in a tight situation right now. This would be the type of situation that anyone would get a little stressed about money with, so we should stop those installment transfers. If we cancel them now, then we'll be able to replenish them in the future, no problem. It's still a long time until the kids have to worry about getting into a university.
I can't really see the logic in what you're saying about this. They're already getting old enough to worry about their futures. Besides, did you think that all of that savings amount came from us alone? We were already tight on money, but needed to pay for their fees right now, so I had to borrow a pretty large amount from my own mom. That was just in order to replenish what we already had. That is already happening to us. It isn't just a problem we can put off until some time in the future. We shouldn't be relying on my mom to put money into their savings, so I don't know how you could suggest that we can just cancel those transfers. And then what? We start asking your mother for money too?
This seems like it could be a special situation. We're in a bit of a crisis. I don't think there's anything that we can do but cancel them.
How could we stop those transfers just to give that money to your mother for her business? Do you think that sounds smarter?
Why are you getting up on me so much about this? Do you treat your own parents like this as well?
What are you talking about? My parents aren't going to just open up their banks for us to play around in. Don't you know that they're trying to plan for their retirement?
They're trying to plan so they're comfortable in the future too. Whatever, you should have been the one to tell her that we're in a tough situation and couldn't do it.
I will not. I have already made my stance on this clear. I won't cancel the savings payments.
Honey!
Go talk to your mother about this again. I won't be the bearer of bad news. I already do enough. Hello, how are you? I'm doing okay. I got a call yesterday from your husband. I think he should have given you a call, yes. I apologize for that. What do you mean? Why should you be sorry? We aren't exactly in the best situation right now. It was really difficult for me to tell you that myself. I don't really know what you're talking about. He transferred the money to me right away. I am no longer in any difficult situation because of it. I had just called to tell you thank you for deciding to give me that money for my business. Are you implying that you didn't know that he sent me the money? What? He sent you that money anyway? Yes, we called 3 days ago and he transferred it to me right away. Did you not hear anything about that? No, this is the first time I am being made aware of it. Do you mind telling me how much money did you two decide on? Which money did he use? Someone in your line of work should really learn how to handle their money. I don't want to have to nag you to do that myself. What? My line of work? A father should have the right to make these kinds of decisions. I don't mean to be so blunt, but how could you be remorseful about my son giving his own mother money when she needs some help? Shouldn't I be the one that is remorseful now? It's not that, and I told him that. We don't have a lot of financial freedom right now. We have the kids' school fees to pay, and we have loans to pay off. I showed him the accounting book, and I thought that was the end of that conversation. I guess he didn't understand anything that I was saying. You shouldn't be bickering at me about how you actually don't have enough money to run your family. If you're in that sort of situation, then stop spending money. My son should be the one that has the last say over your finances. I'm sorry? He is the head of the household. He should have more say over the finances than you do. It's really a shame that you're saying that to me. I think you need to understand that in order to live in a successful marriage, that we both need to have control over the finances. I go to work and make money for this family just the same as he does. I've not been able to rest for a day since we got married 12 years ago. Hey now, you shouldn't be trying to flaunt your power by saying that you make more money than he does. I'm not saying that I do. So then what are you trying to say? He makes more in a year than you do. That should constitute him as the head of the house. On his salary, sure. He does make $800 more than I do a year, so I guess that does mean he's making a higher salary than I am. Do you think that making that much money is easy? Of course not. It is pretty difficult. I also have to work just as hard to make my own money. Hey now! I should also be treated as one of the heads of the household. He is not the sole head of the house, so if he needs to make any large financial decisions, he should be consulting with me first. How much did he send you? Well, I don't really know. Really? I think you guys should talk it over first. I just wanted to call and let you know that I was thankful for it. I didn't think that I would be the one to get scoffed at. I think you need to watch your temper. Hey, don't get angry with me. You need to understand what kind of situation we're in. There is no reason for me to know. Did he by any chance cancel our savings installments? How would I know that? If he would have cut that off, I think you need to give us back what he sent you. That needs to go into our savings to pay the kids' school fees off. I have even been borrowing some of my own mom's money to save for their university tuition fees. I think you two need to talk about this first. Why did you have to bring me into it? Now you're saying that I should give it back to you? Why are you trying to pick a fight with me? How could I be trying to pick a fight with you? In our entire marriage, has there ever been a time that I've tried to make you upset? You've done very well the entire time. But this... I don't think there has ever been a time that I've even come close to being negligent towards you. This is the first time that I have ever heard you upset, but even at that, these savings are really important to us. These kids are all but in elementary school. How could we already be bringing up their university tuitions? That surely is strange in itself. But I guess that is a whole other conversation. Excuse me? How could it be strange? It is barely unreasonable to think that we should be planning for our children's futures. It makes me really upset that you would think such a thing. Your father also had a business that he had to let go of while you were growing up. Did you not turn out all right? It won't be such a long time until I am successful again, so please be patient and let this all go through so you can see some reward yourself. Stop nagging your husband about this. You can't just do this to me. Your mother called me today.
Oh, really? What did you talk about?
She called me to thank me for sending her that money. You know that though, right?
My mom can be like that, making calls to thank people just to be polite.
What do you mean just to be polite?
Just that. There isn't anything that my mom does that doesn't imply something else is going on in the background. So she must have had some plan to call you about this. It probably meant something else entirely. She really should not have done that. We don't need that kind of reassurance.
Is that what is important right now? You shouldn't be talking like that.
We had to come to an agreement on it, so nothing passed that should be of any concern. The way that you're talking about it makes it seem like you don't think that anymore.
What agreement? What are we talking about right now?
Let's quit talking about this for now.
No. I still have something to say.
What would we have to talk about? I thought we already got this over with.
Where exactly did you get that money from?
What do you mean where? It's my money.
Where exactly is your money? Where do you keep it currently?
It was my money that was saved for emergencies. That's what it should have been used for.
Where in the world would you have found a stash of money that could be used for savings? You don't even keep a checkbook. How could you have come across a bucket of money like that?
I had just gotten it by saving little by little.
Do not lie to me. You must have used the savings we had been contributing to together. You canceled the installment payments, didn't you? That was supposed to be used for our children's school fees right now and then their university tuitions later.
Fine, I canceled the payments.
Honey, I told you that we shouldn't be dipping into absolutely any of our savings yet.
There was nowhere else that I could get that money. That is my parents' business. How could I not want to help them? I'm their son. How could I not have helped them? Where else were they supposed to get that assistance from?
Are you not thinking about your own children?
It's still so far out that we have to think about any of that. They're still in elementary school. Stop trying to bring things up that don't matter right now in the place in life that they're in.
I don't think this is getting through to you.
You're the one that's making it difficult to comprehend.
Fine, let's just say that I am overreacting about this. Let's settle on that part. Still, you shouldn't have used that money. It was all from my mom. It wasn't even our money.
Is her name written down on it? Why would it matter who it comes from? That is our money still in the end. It's in our account.
How does that matter more? It's my parents. They should have just kept it for themselves and their retirement if I knew that you were going to misuse it like this. They were willing to contribute little by little alongside us while we save for our children, and you had the audacity to lay your hands on it?
Are you done yet? What do you mean by lay my hands on it? Did I do something rash?
Honey, you know that is not what I am saying.
Of course it is. What else would it be? You're saying that I just used up all of that money for no reason off of some whim? You're implying that I'm gambling by investing? No, lending money to my parents for their business. Gambling? I am doing no such thing. My father had a stream of money cut off from him because some of his customers had messed up the settlement and payment agreement. That's something that threatened his current situation. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? You're just going off on me without knowing the context of why I'm trying to help them out. They said they only need that much money right now and will be able to pay it back later. You're gonna get all the money back, so where did it even go?
The last time this happened, we never got the money back. You had said the same exact thing last time.
Do you think running a business is easy? You just got money every month and pay the bills? Of course you wouldn't know what actually goes on.
What do you mean?
Your parents have been on salary their entire lives. Of course you wouldn't have any sense of what running a business actually entails.
Are you finished undermining me? Why are you bringing up my father again?
Complaining about having a monthly salary is the most privileged thing you could do. How could you understand how hard it is from the perspective of having a steady stream of income?
Fine. I don't know what your parents are going through with their finances, but I do know what it's like to have my parents' possessions stolen from them from someone with no shame.
Money stolen from them? Without shame? Don't you think you're coming at this a little harshly again?
Now I'm the one being harsh? Do you know what you said about my father?
I'm just stating the truth of this situation. How could that possibly make you so upset?
So now I am being sensitive? In this predicament that you are putting our family through?
Oh gosh, let's just stop talking about this, please.
Honey, call your mother. Take that money back.
I'll figure it out myself.
Honey! Something pretty bad happened.
What happened? Are you all right?
We're going under. Something is happening with the house.
What? What is wrong with the house?
James attached our house under a joint surety with his father's business.
What? What does that mean?
I don't even know exactly. I am losing my mind thinking about this. I have been looking everywhere for a way to fix this, but I can't possibly find a way to. If the house is going to be given up like this, we're going to be in a mountain of debt.
What in the world? What is your husband doing about this?
He said that he was going to try and do something about it, but he hasn't been home in a few days, so I haven't been able to see a solution on anything. He took time off of work to deal with his father's business and deal with his clients. He's running around trying to fix everything, but he's saying that no progress is being made.
Oh gosh, what is going to happen?
He had kept the surety agreement a secret from me. I had no idea this whole business venture was so important to us.
I don't really know anything about the business stuff either. Is he able to let go of the business and find a solution through this by that kind of means?
He said that his father went bankrupt.
Oh gosh, are his parents all right?
They have to sell their house as well. I have no idea. I don't know how any of this is going to be solved, and I don't think there's a way out of anything.
Julie, let's try to relax before we start thinking about anything else.
What are we going to do about the kids?
We could take the kids in for a bit while you guys figure this out. We can look after them for a while.
Are you able to do that? I know that your health isn't very good right now. I don't know how you could take care of 2 children.
I am your mother. I can take care of you while you are struggling. I might not be able to help out in any other ways, but of course I can help with this.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so sorry. I have to ask for your help, though.
There's no reason to apologize for anything. It's going to be okay. I am so sorry that I can't be of any more help to you guys right now.
Don't say that. You're being very reliable right now.
Oh, this is tough. I hope your husband is able to control anything that is happening right now for his parents. For the time being, let me take care of the kids. Try not to worry too much.
Thank you so much, Mom. Hello?
Why do you sound like that? Are you all right?
Of course. I'm doing okay. Have you been all right?
I don't really know how I'm feeling. I don't remember any of it. I've lost my train of thought and what happened, and I have been sore all over.
I bet.
Yeah. How are your parents doing? Has anything happened to them?
What do you mean? They're working a lot of overtime right now. They need the money, so yeah.
Oh, how did this all happen to us?
Yeah, I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I heard from your son that you ended up moving?
Yeah, we were basically thrown out of our other building.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It is my first time ever living in a place like this. I don't know what happened for us to be living in a single room like this at our age. I am quite devastated. I don't know how we could have ruined ourselves like this.
Well, I understand that you're upset about this all, but we are all going through this together.
Right? Who else could say that right now?
Your son is working 2 jobs right now. He's working night shifts in a chauffeur service. We don't see his face at all anymore.
Of course, the poor boy. I know how much he is working. I'm extremely grateful for him. Very grateful. But to be living in a place like this, a tiny 1-room... Oh, never mind. I'll stop talking about it.
We struggled a lot to be able to put down the deposit for that place, as you may know. We are in a crisis ourselves right now. We aren't even able to find a place to live ourselves, so we are camping on the floor of my parents' home. Please, don't be like this right now.
Oh, whatever. Is my son eating well? What? He's been working day and night, having to be in the chauffeur service. I want to ask if you've been being a good housewife for him. He better be staying healthy.
I am a housewife? I am working a full-time job at the same time as a side job. I have not been able to even lay down. Is that what you think a housewife is?
Oh, you're even trying to find fault with me saying that now. You're turning pretty scary. I'm not able to say anything anymore without you getting mad about it.
We are talking about this because you had the audacity to bring it up. Do you think I am struggling right now all to just make my husband happy?
What do you mean?
Do you think that we were able to pay your down deposit for reasons beyond my own? Do you not think that if we knew about your business ventures and that surety that we would be in this position?
Of course not. What are you talking about? It's been your husband. He's dealing with this.
Of course, he is my husband and he has been working hard, but I am also his wife. He is not the sole person that is running this household. How would we be in this position if he had just let me know about that surety? It was all a big secret kept from me that I couldn't have possibly prepared for.
Fine. This is all my fault. We're just dirty, low-life, know-nothings that are ruining your life. Is that what you're trying to say?
Of course. You know that I don't mean any of this like that.
Then what are you trying to get me to understand?
I had signed a surety agreement without my own knowledge, so I wasn't able to prepare for this type of situation. That is why we have fallen this low.
So are you saying that is all my son's fault that you are here right now? He has done nothing wrong.
What?
What in any shape or form did my son do to get us in this situation? My children are supposed to take care of me, and they're supposed to work hard to guarantee me a better life than their own. Do you know how well I raised him, that he still has that sense of responsibility for me? We as parents did all we could do to help him, so now he is supposed to be doing all he can to help us.
His responsibility? So you think that has anything to do with your own children?
What do you mean?
Can you please just understand that you have grandchildren? Don't you think that is also who you need to be thinking about?
The kids? Why? They're doing just fine at your parents' house with you.
Yes, of course. My parents are doing absolutely everything for them right now. That is what I mean. We had to suddenly uproot them from their school in order to move them and put them in an entirely new environment. They have been struggling as well. I don't know how else to beg for just a little bit of understanding from you.
If they're doing fine, then what about it? Why are you trying to make this a big deal? You're making this into something entirely different than it needs to be.
How could I be making this into something that it's not? The kids are still young, but they know exactly what is happening to them. How do you think that this is making them feel? How is that me blowing this up into something that is unnecessary? Meanwhile, you guys have done absolutely nothing to help out with them. You have done absolutely nothing to hint that you want anything to do with them. Moreover, you haven't even asked a single time if my parents are doing all right in this situation. You're the one that is becoming a bit strange through all of this. If you haven't cared before, that is.
I bet the kids are doing just fine. As for your parents, I bet that they're doing well. They aren't living in a small, single room like we are. I bet that their backs aren't hurting as bad as mine. Ugh, never mind. I don't think that I should be delivering you any niceties.
What? You are being absolutely ridiculous.
No, I am not. I am grateful for your parents. Surely I am. But this is the realistic situation. I heard that they won't even be going into a home when they get older. Their home must be that nice. The environment must be nicer, so much better quality than ours is right now. Why would I have to worry about them? I have enough to deal with and worry about with myself right now.
I am not saying that at all, and I don't think you mean what you're saying right now.
I am only saying this because you asked for it. How many properties do your parents own? It costs a certain amount to build, and it costs a certain amount to sell, do they not?
What are you implying?
Ugh, nothing. I don't mean anything by it. It's not something that needs to mean anything. I'm just bringing it up because I was curious. Something that I heard your parents talk about before, with there being a large site somewhere. If they would calculate the cost of that land, I wonder if there would be a large payout. The transportation there must be good, and there would be a lot that could come out of it if it were to be sold afterwards.
They're planning on doing something with it with their retirement funds. Did your son say something to you about this? Or,
Perhaps, but it was just something that happened to come up in conversation. So, do parents have a loan out right now?
well, yes, a small one.
How much is it?
Why are you so curious? Why would you be allowed to ask me that?
Oh, I am just curious. It doesn't have to mean anything. I was just jealous. Jealous of what they seem to have right now. I had planned to be in a 4-bedroom house by this stage. I'm just upset at our current situation, so I wanted to ask about yours.
I get it, but
I was just hoping that they may not be further along as we are right now, but I guess they are, and that makes me jealous. You know, I did hear that besides the house and the site, that maybe they also have some free funds that they could use up if they needed.
what? They're at the stage where they have planned very well for their retirement, but your son really go on about that all with you?
What? No, it's not that at all. We didn't talk about anything.
Then what is it?
I said it was nothing. Oh, my back just really hurts. I should go on and lay down. I don't have a bed, so let me look over here for what I sleep on.
Oh, sure. Are you resting today? You aren't going out to work?
Yeah, I'm very tired. I think that I need to take the day off and rest.
Sure, I think that is a good idea. You had been working for so long. I think that is reasonable to rest now. Your face looks so pale. It's making me sad how tired you are.
Well, yeah, it's been hard, but I think I'm worrying about my mom more than I'm worrying about how we're doing.
Why your mother? Did something happen?
I can't believe that she would be living in that kind of apartment. Her back isn't doing very well on top of that.
You keep bringing up the house. Why is it always about the house that they're in? Honestly, I didn't think that it was all that bad.
Do you think living in a box of a room like that would be a good situation for them?
Of course not. It is worse than where they were originally. But we are doing everything that we can for them right now. Honestly, the place she is living in is even better considering the position they had put us all in.
What are you saying?
We were the ones that had to put the deposit down for that house. They couldn't even afford to do it themselves, so we had to do it for them. Honey, now that this is being brought up between us, don't you think that the payments on this place are a bit difficult to manage? Do you think that we should switch the payment plan that we're on?
Why would you even bring that up? Have you not even looked at the house we're staying in right now? Compared to the house that we put them in, they're really going through it. How could we steep even lower than that for them? The price differences wouldn't be worth it at all.
Do you think the exact state of the house that they're living in should be the central problem right now? How are two people supposed to handle their entire rent? That has always been regarded as unreasonable.
What are you saying? We're the ones that should be paying the rent. Who else would be the ones to pay it?
What? Shirley, did you happen to pay the rent last month?
Of course I did. How could we have afforded to pay it otherwise? I'm their only son. We aren't able to do anything else for them right now.
What kind of money are you spending to cover them? You have been working in the chauffeur service in order to pay for our basic living expenses. How on earth are we going to pay for your parents' rent on top of this?
We're still really young. On top of that, you're working too. If my mom would hear how you're speaking of her right now, then she would be really upset.
Honey, is how your mother feeling right now the root of the problem? In this reality? Are we not living on the floor of my parents' home right now?
Well, I actually wanted to talk to you about that.
What?
Once that house your parents are working on is built, do you think that someone would be able to live in it for a while?
Who? Us?
Of course not. I'm talking about my parents. The air would be great there, and it seems like it would be a huge home. The traffic looks great and the architecture looks really stable. It would be a moon away from where they are right now. Don't you think that would make them really happy? My mom would be able to recuperate very well in there.
So you're saying that your mom and dad should just move in there? The house that my parents are investing in and building for their retirement? Fine, let's just imagine that for a moment. Would your mother be able to pay a rent? A down deposit?
What do you mean by down deposit? It would be a transaction based on the family. We should be doing a favor for them being still so young.
Honey, we are in a really difficult situation right now. On top of that, we are helping out your mother and father with a place to live. How could we possibly do more for them when they aren't even willing to take their own grandchildren in for a while? While we are working to support two families simultaneously, they aren't the ones that are lending us a floor to lay down on at night, are they? So, are you saying that we should be giving them some things that they can help us with?
Of course not, that would be ridiculous. Why are you suggesting things so out of the ordinary? We wouldn't even be living with them. We wouldn't even be able to see their faces.
That house is and is going to be meant for them to move into later on. Why in the world would we let them move in instead? You can't just be conjuring up imaginary plans like this. Where would my parents go then, if they didn't have that home? When the construction on that house is finished, they will be selling this house. We shouldn't even be focusing on your mother and father. We need to worry about ourselves.
My father's business is a bit more urgent right now. All of that is important too, but all of that is still far out from us. The rent that we should be paying them is the smallest kindness that we're providing them. That's why I decided to pay them.
Honey, stop saying things that don't make sense.
Can you just ask your parents about what we're talking about?
Absolutely not. There is no reason to. My parents shouldn't be the ones carrying your family on their back either. You are the one that should be worried sick right now. You should be apologizing for what you did to us.
How could I be sorry? There's no other savings that we can use to tie us over anymore. You should be acting more like a daughter-in-law. We still have a lot of time for ourselves. You're really over-exaggerating about all of this.
I get it. We are children of someone else, so we should be helping them, but we also have children of our own. My heart hurts for the simple fact that we can't even raise our children for ourselves right now. I feel like I have to apologize to death to my parents for this, to our children, my parents. Do you have nothing to say to them? Are you not sorry about doing this to them?
How did we get into this situation? Do you remember? Do you think that I did this on purpose?
I get it. There was nothing you could do about their situation, but you need to start thinking about my parents as well. There is nothing that they can do about this either. Just think about how they are dealing with this for 1 second.
You are overreacting so much to this. How could you be so cold to my parents?
Listen.
Whatever, never mind. Stop yelling at me.
We only have a short amount of time to leave this house.
What are you saying so suddenly? We have to move out?
What do you mean all of a sudden? We've talked about this before. I made sure you understood many times. My parents' home is going to be finished and we're going to move out of here.
How are we still living like this? So they're saying that they're kicking us out?
This house has already been sold, so there is no other option for us than to speed up the process. This was going to happen eventually. I also should warn you about something. We will need to ask my father for more help. There is no way that we're able to handle this on our own. He saw what exactly our situation entailed and felt terrible for us, so he's going to let us in on the balance that they're getting us from this house and let us borrow it. I never wanted to take anything from him, but we have no other choice in order to make this possible for us.
What? A balance? How much is it?
He said that he would lend us the amount for another deposit on a place to move into. He asked us to look around for a place and then we can get back to him on how much it's going to be. Oh, this is so awful.
The balance of the house? How much is it exactly?
Honey, you are the most concerned about how much it is? That is what you think is the most important thing right now?
No, but if you're saying that he's going to give us some money, then I want to be sure exactly how much it is. If he has anything else he's able to spare, do you think that you could ask him to raise the amount a bit?
Honey, how could you possibly be asking about that?
What am I saying that is that wrong? We need to know how much we have to budget. While we're at it, we should look at another place for my parents. You know how bad my mom's back is. Do you know how badly that house is making my mom feel? If your parents would have any spare money, we would really be able to help them out.
Honey, my parents are really just feeling sorry for us and the situation that we're in right now. They really just want to help us. How do you think we look right now, living on the floor of my parents' house? You don't have anything to say to them?
Of course I'm sorry and grateful for them, but we need to think about our whole family. Your parents are doing well for themselves. Having spare money that they're just sitting on and not thinking about how my parents could be coping with this situation.
What in the world are you talking about? My mom and dad? Do you not know how much money they are already lending us out of their spare funds? It is an absolutely ridiculous amount. They are deathly worried about us.
What do you mean unreasonable when they indeed have it just sitting there? My parents are living in a box room, sleeping on the floor. Don't you think that they should be pitying my parents as well?
Are you really not sorry for this? About what you're putting my parents through?
No, being able to help with the money that they have but choosing not to do, that is crazy.
So you're saying that they shouldn't have helped us out before?
Well, of course not. If they would have just given us a little bit more money for my father's business, then none of this would have ever happened.
Honey, you can't possibly say something like that.
But I'm right. Don't you think that my father was completely aware of the money that your parents have and had chosen not to help them? If they would have helped us out as fast as they could manage, then they would have reaped multiple times the rewards from that same money. They obviously knew about the situation that we're in, but they didn't even have the pity to reach out to them and are just staying quiet in the background still.
You really should watch what you're saying right now. This is getting ridiculous. How in the world could you make the promise that they would have saw literally anything come from the money that they might have loaned out to them? You're looking past what we can do for ourselves and peek into my parents' personal matters to repair the fault that your own father couldn't fix with his own business.
You can't talk about his business while you know nothing about what kind of world they have to live in being in it.
No matter how clueless I am about their business, I know how to handle money. How could he have not been able to identify where his money was going and stop it?
He wasn't able to know. How could he know? Stop attacking him.
You are the one that needs to stand your own ground and shut up. What in the world? How could you possibly wrestle your way into stealing my parents' money so easily? Do you have no shame?
Am I not allowed to bring it up? How could they not be feeling for their situation right now? I am.
You cannot be the one that is most upset right now. How are you able to say that?
Why am I not allowed to be upset about this? If they have the means and the money to help us out? Do you know how my parents are living right now? Have you ever even been inside that house? You haven't even gone to visit them, have you?
I have no reason to be over there right now. How could I?
You're a daughter-in-law and you're being ridiculous to your mother and father-in-laws. You're being absurd.
You are the one that is being absolutely absurd.
How could I be?
You have no shame in what you're doing and are trying to do for your own family, not thinking about your children. You are refusing to help out with your own children and to be understanding of what they're going through. On top of that, you're asking for even more money from my parents.
Try and change your perspective. If it were your parents that had a business like this and they were going into the red, of course they would have lost all their money in just the same way. We need to help my father and his business before he even begs for help so that this never happens.
Stop trying to show off in a thought experiment that doesn't even exist.
How are you bringing this up again? You aren't giving my parents even the least bit of understanding.
You are the one that should be helping out my parents more. This has gotten so ridiculous.
I am not the one that has blown this out of proportion. Being the daughter of parents that are keeping all of their money for themselves instead of taking their daughter's husband's parents out of a hard situation.
Really? Have you run out of things to say?
Let's just quit this.
James! Oh, what are you doing here? You should have said something if you were going to stop by out of the blue.
I wanted to be able to see your parents here in person. I have a few things that I thought I should say to them.
Oh, my parents? Can I ask what for?
Do your parents happen to be here right now?
No, they have stepped out for a bit. My father will be a little late this evening as well.
I can wait for a bit if that is the case.
Sure, I guess you can wait in here.
I wanted to say that I am really grateful about how much you're helping us out. I don't know who else in this world would be able to lend us such a huge favor. Of course, I wouldn't want to accept it without expressing my gratitude.
What favor are you talking about? Something from my parents?
I heard it from James, that you would be able to help us out a bit.
What? What did he say to you?
It's not money that is just being given to us. I understand that it is being lent. That is the extent of what I heard from him. That surely isn't easy to do, so I am quite grateful for it. I know that your parents have been working hard their entire lives to be able to retire into a bed of wealth. I bet that they're going to be very comfortable regardless.
What do you mean? Sure, you understand that this is the extent to how my parents are assisting us? The money they're helping us out with isn't exactly just free money for them. They had seen what kind of predicament we were in and felt that there was no other way to save us.
Of course, living with your parents must have been a whole lot more comfortable than what we are living in right now.
I have no idea what he would have said to you, but I am starting to not have a great feeling about why you are here.
Anything that is free should be up for grabs for the family.
What?
James had gone to our little apartment and felt bad for us there. So I wanted to come by and just learn a bit more about what kind of house this is going to be.
What? Your house?
Yes. I thought that I should know more about what kind of house that we're moving all together into. Have yours not moved in yet?
Us all together?
Yeah, that is what I am referring to. It must have been a lot of effort from your parents, so I wanted to come and thank them for it. How am I supposed to continue living in that tiny apartment that you have us in? Doing all the housework is even a pain. I can barely handle it. I think that it is great that we would all be moving in together so we can divvy up the responsibilities.
You were saying that we are going to be divvying up the housework? Did he say that we would be living together off of the money that my parents are lending us?
Why are you saying it like that? Are you worried that it is going to be really uncomfortable?
No, I am just really flustered. I had heard nothing about this until now. Is this what you two were talking about?
Not being able to figure out what is going on in your own household. How could you be so oblivious to this again? Why are you making my son do each and everything for you? Of course, not forgetting that he is doing a wonderful job at it.
Hey now, what do you mean by himself? And this is the extent that he is doing a wonderful job? By making false promises and letting you come into my parents' home asking for bucket loads of money?
What are you implying? Antagonizing everything that he has done.
I am doing just that. By having to let go of our own home, being a debt to paying your rent for you, shamelessly begging that my parents give us money. Now he is promising that we will all be moving in together using my own parents' money?
Hey, you should be following what my son is saying rather than trying to bicker with me about it. Do you think that my son has bad intentions doing this for us? He broke a sweat trying to fix everything and make the situation better.
Of course, I know that. He has been working really hard. I am not saying that he has been trying to wrong us all from the beginning. But we have been just trying to survive. This isn't what is going to make the situation better, and it isn't what is happening.
What? You have been just fighting to survive?
Yeah, I absolutely mean that. For the children of your son, we have been doing everything that we can. I have been fighting for this family in front of my own children. You don't have anything to say to me about that?
Why would I do anything about that? Back in the day, the husband would be the one who was making all the financial decisions. This is just the natural course of things, and now you are trying to slight that? Do you know how to behave, even towards your mother-in-law?
You are being a bit ridiculous. He has been pulling things like this for years now, and all that I have been doing is trying to support my family. Do you not worry about us? Are you not worrying about your grandchildren? You even refuse to help contribute anything to their education fees until now. How could you keep receiving things without wanting to help out at all?
Everything that has happened has led to this moment, right? Besides, none of this has concerned me, has it? Your husband has been doing everything for you up until this point. How could you be causing a scene like this without acknowledging that first?
None of this is because your son has been helping us. It has all come from my parents.
All of us are in one big family. Your money is my money, just as the next person. We're supposed to be helping each other out.
I see this is exactly what your son has said to me.
What do you mean?
This is the only thing he has to say when we talk about money. We have to help out those in the family. If there's any spare money, then we should be just giving it out to anybody.
What is wrong with that? Why are you staring at me like that?
That's right. I will not continue with this. I quit.
What? What are you saying?
I will not live with you like this in one household.
What? Why not?
I think I'm going to separate myself from this mess. I am going to file for a divorce.
Why are you bringing up divorce so suddenly? Have you spoken to your husband about this yet?
He has been making a whole bunch of rash decisions by himself from the beginning. Why should it be different when I do it? I am deciding to do this alone, and I will figure out how to make it happen.
All by yourself? That isn't going to work. I need to call...
Sure, try and do that. Call him. I don't ever want to talk to that man again. I can never get anything into his thick skull.
Hey, just relax for a minute. You're going to get divorced with kids? Do you think that's going to be easy?
I have been fighting to survive in front of my kids, but I will no longer put up with it. Getting a divorce and figuring out how to make this happen is going to be the easiest of my problems thus far.
Divorce is not going to be any easier. Do you think that makes sense at all? Do you know how important it is to stay loyal to your family?
Sure, I am staying loyal to the family. I am going to figure this out for my own family.
What are you saying?
My parents have been working their entire lives to fight for their family. For me to come in and ruin their savings and their plans, that would be despicable. I am not doing any of that.
How could this be ruining them?
Do you know how much of their savings have already been spent on this whole situation? Can you possibly imagine how much this is going to help them for living the life that they wanted? Do you want to completely use up all of what they have set aside for their retirement on our brand new home that is just going to fall into your lap?
Fall into my lap? That is what you're accusing me of? After everything that I've worried about for you, I am getting this in return?
Actually, no. Your son is more of the problem here.
What do you mean? What are you implying about my son?
That man who happens to be my husband, he hasn't ever been the parent of my children. He has always just been your son. I hope that has made you very happy. I hope you live a much happier life together with him than I ever did.
Wait, just relax now. We need to speak calmly about this.
Nope, I will not. I don't have anything else to say to you.
If you get divorced, how would you expect us to help you afterwards? It would make the whole situation a bit awkward. Please just relax and let's all talk about this together when he gets back, okay?
Hey, are you still trying to talk about my parents' money?
Hey, you're scaring me now. Why do we have to resort to yelling?
My parents are not going to give you any money, and I will be getting a divorce. I don't want anything to do with you.
Why? You can't do that. You should learn how to live through hard situations and cooperate with family through thick and thin.
I will not. This is how I am going to move forward. I am going to live on and take care of my parents. Who else is going to do that?
What do you mean? What about our financial situation?
Don't even think about asking for money again. I will not be giving your son any money. You should start figuring out a way to get it yourself.
Hey, don't say that.
I have never wanted to do anything for you.
Hey!
The man that I married had been a sweet and sincere person while we were dating. He had a particular fondness toward my family, and he looked like he wanted to do everything he could to take care of our own family. I decided that I would want to marry someone such as him who was waiting for a big and happy family, but after we married, he started to show other sides of himself that I never could have expected. He never considered my children or I as part of his family. The love that he had for his family actually was only directed toward his parents. So as time went on and I looked into the future of things would get better for us, I was wondering why I was still married to him. Year after year, time went on and I waited for my own feelings to change. It had been 12 years of waiting. For 12 years, my husband only had his eyes on his parents. The only responsibilities that he took within the household were trivial errands, all the while he lusted after money. My children and I were always on the back burner, waiting for him to get around to us. Particularly in our last moments where we were dealing with his father's business, we had lost an incredible amount of money. He started to use our own savings and assets to try and get him through the dark period in the business. He had never agreed to that. He took it upon himself to decide what was right to contribute. They were not able to get through that situation, and his father's business ended up crumbling down until it was closed for good. It had impacted our family just the same. He had sold our home to cover his father's bankruptcy and ended up pushing us out on the streets. Fortunately, my parents pitied our situation and were able to help us out and use the funds that they had been meticulously saving all of their lives to instead help us recuperate. It had been very shameful, but I had still been grateful for the help that my parents granted us while my husband was not. He had only had eyes on his remaining assets that my parents had. He had set out on the plan to use my parents' retirement money and move us all into one big home. Even worse than that, he had accused my parents for being bad people and not wanting to help them out from the very beginning. His mother ended up coming directly to her house in order to express her gratitude to my parents because he had expressed that the money for this new place was going to be coming from my parents. I had only kept this all going because he was the father of my children, but the very moment that they started to prey on my parents, I decided that I was going to file for a divorce. I'm still in the process of preparing for the divorce. My husband comes to my parents' house every day and begs for forgiveness. My parents had seen how bad of a situation he was in and wanted to let him in to talk about it, but I am standing firm in my decision. I will never have anything else to say to a man that pities his mother more than he wants to take care of his own children. I am now on my own path in figuring out how to be a better daughter to my parents. Thank you for your patience in getting through this long story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please let us know what you thought in the comments. Bye!